All right, what's up, fam? So we're going to get into two simple words that you can use to actually win in a conversation without being combative. So the question I get all the time, by the way, welcome to this live video. If you're watching this on YouTube on replay, then make sure you thumbs up the video. If you're watching this live in my Facebook group, go ahead and let us know where you're watching from in the comments. And then like the video, help us expand the reach. Right, that's why I do these free trainings. Just help me get it out to more people by loving, dropping a heart. Okay. So anyway, people ask me all the time, Rob, how in the heck are you able to get people to sign up with you on these high-ticket contracts without having to overcome a bunch of objections, without having to sound salesy, without having to be gross, right, and sounding salesy? How can you do it so passively where it almost feels scripted? How is this so bulletproof? So I get asked this stuff all the time, and I'm going to show you with some word choice using frames with NLP, like how simple word choice makes all the difference. So I hear this all the time. And guys, this is a super closed-minded perspective, by the way. So if you find yourself doing this, okay, if you find yourself doing this, then stop immediately, open up your mind. Because if you want to see more opportunity around you, that requires a higher level of mindfulness. And if you want to be more mindful, you need to be willing to understand that you don't know what you don't know. Okay? To understand that, like, if you understand something now, that does not mean that you understood it before. So let me give you an example of what I mean by that. I did a little something on my Instagram, my IGTV about this, much shorter version. I'll do an extended version on YouTube. But here's what happens is when somebody gets a coach or a mentor or they go through a course, whatever, it doesn't matter, but they go through that, and then immediately, once they see something or hear something in a way that describes what they're currently doing naturally, the first thing they say to themselves is, oh yeah, I already knew that. Oh yeah, no, I already knew that. I was already doing that. Let me just be clear with something. You didn't know shit about that, okay? I'm just going to be blunt with you, all right? Just because you're doing something naturally does not mean you know what you're doing. That might work, but that does not mean you have an understanding to be able to duplicate or teach, right, what you're doing, or to be able to go beyond what you're doing, okay? So when you're the coach or mentor and you hear something that helps you better understand what you're currently doing, that means you did in fact evolve, grow, and learn. That does not mean that you already knew that thing. That means you were doing it, but you did not know how to contextualize what you were doing. You did not know the deeper understanding behind what you were doing, all right? So things like this, what I'm gonna show you today, when you hop off this video, you might say to yourself like, oh yeah, I already knew that. But if you catch yourself saying that, that means that you didn't actually understand the deeper meaning, which means that you may have been doing it naturally, but you could not teach it, you could not duplicate it, and you certainly won't go beyond what you're naturally doing. All right? And again, if you guys want to watch more of the details, I did an IG TV story thing about that, so just go follow me on Instagram, Robb Quinn 3. So we're going to dive into these two simple words and how you can start using these differently inside of any conversation, whether that be with your spouse, your partner, a sales call, the grocery store, family, friends, whatever. Doesn't matter. Your kids, anything. So anytime that you're dealing with a frame, the idea of a frame, just so you guys have some context, right? The idea of a frame is to take what is around something right now and to be able to take the thing in the middle of that out and to plug it into a brand new environment, okay? Whether that be a mindset or whether that be a physical environment, okay? Because it'll put you ever notice that, how some people do really well whenever they have a lot of natural light versus somebody that could just work maybe in their apartment that doesn't really have any natural light, okay? If you were to plug that person that sucks in the environment with no light into a place with a lot of natural light, their mindset will immediately change, okay? So the frame around them, everything changed. So the how versus the why. So let's start getting into this. By the way, if you guys are loving this, go ahead and heart the video or give me a thumbs up if you're watching on YouTube. Number one, number two. So with how, all right, so you guys get questions all the time, and I'm going to show you how I just switch a few words around to be able to make it a positive experience versus unintentionally driving negative feedback, because that happens a lot. When you're in a sales call, you're trying to get a point across, and you could be genuine, like you could genuinely be trying to help out, not just trying to sell them, but we use the wrong words, which drives a negative response. And anytime you do that, even unintentionally, even if you have the best, you meant the best thing possible, right? Because you're really there for them, that still triggers your logic brain, right? The tiny brain, the one that makes all those fight or flight decisions. So if you trigger any type of negative response, immediately it's going to make them want to back out. If they're going to put their guard up, if they don't back out, it's going to be a lot harder to be able to actually push through to get the outcome you're looking for. So what you're going to look at here is the how is going to drive more of an outcome. It's kind of hard to see now I look at it. Hold on a second, I'm going to change colors. So when you're dealing with the how, this is going to drive an outcome. By the way, guys, if you're finding this helpful as well, I'll put a link above in my Facebook group on this video. You can book a call with my team, and we'll be able to kind of help you decipher what's happening in your conversations right now and why you're not driving a higher closing percentage, or why maybe you're not driving a higher amount of revenue per sale, or why you're just losing the sales altogether. So if you want us to audit your agency and your sales process, I'll put a link up there, and I'll put some good stuff on YouTube in the descriptions down below. But so this is going to drive outcome and feedback. Oh, I wasn't talking to the camera. Outcome and feedback. So essentially, this will drive solution-based frames and put people in a position to just see solutions, okay? Versus the why. So this is how versus the why, which is going to drive a problem frame. Okay? So the problem frame is going to put people in that fight or flight, and then this is going to put people in an open-minded, like room for opportunity mindset. So these are the two frames. So anytime that you hear something along the lines of, like, for example, the proposal is too high. So a lot of people will come in here and be like, well, why do you think that? Well, what's wrong with the proposal? What about the proposal makes it too high? Okay, a lot of the time people will come in with that type of mindset, with the why or the what, and this should actually be why and what. Can't really see that, but this is like why and what, rather than how. Okay, so how do you believe that we're going to be able to make this work for you? Okay, so, or maybe they say, like, Facebook ads just don't work. Okay, like, I love what you're doing. You guys are great, but we already did Facebook ads. Like, Facebook ads don't work. Okay? Or we've already worked with a coach, and I'm telling you, like, the way that you guys are talking about prospecting, we've already worked with a coach, and that kind of stuff doesn't work. You're like, okay. And so instead of coming to Adam and saying, well, why not? Like, what didn't work for you? Why couldn't you make that work for you? Instead, come over to the how frame and say something more along the lines of, how do you feel that we could have structured it to be more effective for you? Because now what they're doing is you're raising their level of thinking and allowing them to think rather than be combative and like, why didn't that work for you? So the whole idea here is to separate people from the problem. And basically a way to do that is to label it and be able to take whatever their fear is and all that stuff, and then to help them identify that, you know, what they're afraid of, which they can talk about, and then put that in a jar, essentially labeling it and say, look, it sounds like you're afraid, or from what it sounds like, the fear is being derived from this experience, okay? But you're a great decision maker. Like, you're very talented, you understand what you're doing, all right? So let's just set that fear aside for a second, okay? And let's just acknowledge the fact that you know how to make good decisions and you see opportunity when it presents itself, do you not? And then immediately they're going to be like, yeah, no, I do. Like, and that's what's helped me get to where I am today is like, I know I see opportunity, but this hasn't worked in the past. Be like, I totally get that. I just want to be able to let you know that you are not that fear, and that fear is based on an experience that you had in the past. Can we at least acknowledge that? They're going to say, yeah, okay. How do you feel like we could have developed more structure around what happened last time that created that fear? And they're going to start to talk to you about what they feel like could have been better. Because now what you've done is you separated people from the problem. Okay, so this way you can be hard on the problem and soft on people. Okay, so when you're able to do that, you now side with them and you are on their side. Okay, and you are both on the same side against the problem. So this is an us versus them mentality, but with people and problems rather than competition. Okay, so, and guys, again, if you are enjoying this and you feel like you could really benefit from applying this level of education into your process, then there's a link above and a link below. You can just go ahead and click on that, book a call with our team, see how we can help you in your sales process. But learning how to use the how statement versus the why statement in that way is going to help you drive a more productive response, right? To help raise their level of thinking and help them better understand what they're having a struggle with, okay? So, yep, I appreciate it, guys. The comments are very welcome. I appreciate it. We have a comment here that says, this training can bring anyone who wants to apply it millions. NLP training is fire. Rob dropping the best nuggets. Damn, all this can be applied to so many aspects of life. So dope. Yeah, guys, it absolutely can. And this is the behind the scenes stuff for whenever, let's say you guys are on YouTube watching this and you see some of my live closes where I close, $36,000, $67,000 contracts, or you're in my Facebook group and you see me actually live stream me closing these $36,000 contracts on one call, and I never have to bring up the product. I never have to bring up testimonials. I never show them a website. They've never met me before. All they've done is go through our front end prospecting engine, and then they hopped on this call with me, and I one call close them, and I live stream it in front of 8,000 person group. It's because I look for certain things, and I structure the way I say things in a way that triggers a positive response. Okay, because remember, like, we all go through experiences, and certain experiences are driving the negative response. So you have to stay away from those. And when I was in the gym industry selling gym memberships, which I did 4 President's Clubs selling gym memberships, what I learned from them and what they used to say, now there's an actual science behind it, but they used to call it being strategically vague. And I used to think like, man, that sounds kind of shady. But the thing is, when you're strategically vague, you're able to use this type of strategy, technique, right? To be able to, it's an open-ended question, right? Not a closed-ended. So this way you're allowing them to fill the gaps. The same way a therapist would, right? When a therapist talks to you, and a therapist helps you fill the gaps, they don't tell you what you are, they don't tell you what's wrong with your life, they don't tell you this, they don't tell you that. They ask questions to be able to open up the floor for conversation and to help you have the epiphanies you need to have the mental breakthrough. So use the how. Anytime you get hit with a question, man, that proposal's too high, or that's not going to work. I've done this before, right? What else can I think of here? Yeah, so anyway, anytime, or like, really anything, guys, anything you hear, reply back with adding how in there, okay? Here's another great one. We've been doing this for a long time, and right now we're like only generating this many appointments, so we're only generating this amount of revenue. You can say like, how long can you sustain that? It's a powerful question. It's $1 million question, right? And like over here, be like, well, why haven't you just done this? Well, why don't you just do that? Well, what would happen if you did this? So what you're doing is challenging them when you use statements like that. And there's a time and place for that. okay? It's not that that's completely wrong. There's a time and place for it. But you have to use this as you're going through the sales process, okay? Saying things like, how long can you sustain that? That's gonna allow them to have the epiphany. Be like, you know what, like, probably not much longer, maybe like 2-3 months. You see how powerful it is? How do you want to go about building a structure around making sure that we could put something in place, or that we can put something in place to get you out of that agonizing like pain that you're in right now, that you've been in for the last few months, that's giving you all the anxiety that you're having every single day? How do you feel like we could put a structure together to get you out of that position? And usually what they're going to respond with is like, well, do you have something that could help us out? Like, can we just work together? Like, what's it going to take for us to work together? Like, what's the price? Like, what do we need to do? Like, what does the first step look like? That's usually their response, because you're framing this in a way that gets them to want to buy, okay? We're not here to sell to somebody. We're here to position something that makes them want to buy from us, and we're just order takers, okay? That's what an effective communicator can do. So anyway, guys, I actually have a meeting coming up now, but I wanted to share with you some frames and some simple winning word choice that could help you completely shift anything in your life, whether it's a sale, whether it's in relationship, whether it's with family, whether it's with your kids. Like, learning how to better position this to be able to create solution-based frames versus problem-based frames is going to give you a lot of power in the conversation in a positive way. So I'll catch you guys on the next one. Any videos you want to see, drop them below. If you found value in this, like I said, I put a link above or below. If you want us to be able to help you in sales and help you develop a world-class sales team, then we can do that for you. So just book a call with my team. We'll help you out. But I'll see you guys in the next video.